What's up, everyone? It's Karen Oliver, and welcome to Inside HQ. We're coming to you straight from World of Dance headquarters, but this podcast isn't about what goes on inside of these walls. It's about the incredible people on the outside who are building the movement, shaping the culture, and keeping the community alive. I'm so excited for today's guest, Kenneth Espiritu.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Kenneth is 20 years old. He is pursuing a degree in business marketing. He's also the founder and director of Espiritu Worldwide. He is an instructor at Offstage, and he has also done projects with Katy Perry, Doechii, BTS, TXT, correct?
Yes.
Let's go. I'm super excited to get into it today.
Me too. Hi, Karen. How are you, girl?
I'm good. Kenneth and I know each other,
yes.
For those of you watching. I have been in a performance with Espiritu Worldwide.
I played that.
I think it was like
It was last year, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a year ago. But I mean, I have nothing but amazing things to say about Kenneth and about his process and about any experience that you ever get to do with Kenneth. Take advantage of it because it is incredible and you are incredible.
Oh, thanks, boo.
But let's get into it. For anyone who doesn't know you or your work, how would you describe Kenneth Espiritu?
Well, me, I'm just like an extroverted person. I think I'm really open and I like taking up space in the world. I'm very loud. But like not in like an obnoxious way, but just in the way that like kind of welcomes people in and kind of just tries to like lift the energy in the room. And I think that kind of translates into my work as well. I think I like doing big things with big groups. I'm also in dance, yes. So yeah, my style is very explosive, big, and fast. That's the part that gets people. It's a little fast.
It's kind of insane. It's super fast, but you are moving. Also, for those of you that don't know, Kenneth is really tall. And you go from being like floor level to being up in the air, and you are so expansive, but it is lightning speed at the same time. And
Girl.
I have no idea how he does
like,
it.
Yeah, it'd be hurting.
A lot of leg strength. It's kind of insane. I mean, you already described your style a little bit, but do you want to go a little more in depth into what exactly represents your style?
Yeah. My background has always been in like the competitive hip hop community world. So I started off at the lab. Hey, World of Dance champions. And then I went on to go to Gravy Babies and GRV, where I got to kind of build a lot of my personal style, but it's always been rooted in the training that I got from those spaces, which has always been for like just like kind of full out competition stage. So that's where I've been inspired by for my style personally. But I'm obviously, well, not obviously, maybe, but I come from like queer culture, so I always try to incorporate some of those elements, whether it be in the music, whether it be in the styles, and yeah. I just represent.
I love that response. What inspired you to create Espiritu Worldwide, and can you tell us about its origin story?
Well, I think just from a young age, I just knew that I wanted to create. I didn't know what I wanted to create, but I think over the years, I've always been inspired by going to community events and just watching the big performances on stage. And I always knew that's something that I wanted to have for myself and create, but I wasn't really getting the opportunity. So one day I was just at school and I was like, guys, like, would you be down to do a performance? Like, while it's coming up, like, it's this, like, you know, like, would you guys be even down? And I was so scared to ask people because, you know, like asking people to do your work, it's kind of a scary thing. But luckily people were down. And for me, it was more just about creating something to meet for my friends to like kind of be in the same space versus like make the best thing in the world. So I gathered like all my friends from school, like from past dance teams, people that I've competed with, like retired dancers, and I was just like, let's do this performance. And I knew going into it that I didn't want to compete because when I create for like competitive things, I'm always just a little bit too much in my head about what would the judges like versus like what would I like. So
Totally.
Luckily, WAD was like a good space for me to kind of start off because I feel like the energy is always very welcoming and it welcomes a lot of like new groups, and it also just kind of supports whatever energy you bring. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try to build what's most authentic to me and just push it on a stage, and I did it.
And you did it, and it worked for real. Obviously, Espiritu is an incredible community, and it's I mean, I can't even say enough how much I enjoyed that experience, but it's definitely always super vulnerable to put out work and something that's super personal to you, especially if you're doing it, I think, more so with like your friends and people that you're close to.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's even more nerve-wracking, the response you're going to get from your friends themselves than an audience per se.
1000%.
Especially for putting out work for the first time and like on a World of Dance stage is insane. Espiritu was received super well, and I have seen a couple videos go viral.
Oh yeah.
And it's been rapidly growing. We've had a crazy journey so far, right? So I want to know what kind of that growth provided in terms of like opportunities for you.
Oof. I mean, the kind of platform that Espiritu has blown up to be has like offered a stage for me to kind of live out my dreams. I think like as soon as it blew up, well, I don't like that term, like blow up, but I mean, you know what I mean? I think people from around the world just kind of wanted to learn from my style, which was like insane. I remember I was in the Philippines on vacation with my family, and then I got a DM from like these random kids at school. They were just like, "Can we cover your piece?" And I was like, wait, people like want to learn my choreo? And like they're like, yeah, like, can we learn it? I was like, yeah, for sure. And then I think that kind of translated into studios wanting to offer that to their communities. And so I've had the like amazing opportunities to travel to like around the world now to teach. I've been to like China, Mexico, and even within the country, I've been to like places like Virginia, Florida, New York, where I've just been able to share my craft to the people. And I think that's what it's all about. I think I've always been taught to learn, do, and share. So now that I'm in like the portion where I'm able to share to people, it's kind of really fulfilling for me because I'm completing that cycle of what dance is supposed to like give to people. You know what I mean?
Totally. I think teaching, when you get to the teaching stage in your career, it's always the most rewarding experience, being able to be that person that is passing down the information. We talked about obviously the rapid growth of Espiritu. With that come challenges, obstacles. Can you talk about the growing pains that you've experienced, especially at 20 years old and just having such immediate success?
Oh my gosh. I'm so grateful for, you know, like people receiving it very well and just like being super open to, or like just like really enjoying the stuff that I have put out in the past. But, you know, I'm so new to this. It's kind of like, okay, like, is this stuff like what people expect of me? I think it's just a lot of trying to gauge expectation while also trying to grow personally. Because every time I look back at like a previous set, I'm like, oh gosh, that was trash. But now I'm like, okay, like I've grown from there. But sometimes it's like, is this growth what people want? Or is it gonna be like something that is entertaining to like a big group of people? So it's kind of gauging that. Also, I kind of feel like sometimes I get like imposter syndrome because I feel like there's certain steps that you like have to take in order to be like on like a big stage or like have like a big platform. And I feel like for me, just through positioning and through like the algorithm of social media, I've been able to kind of like skip a few of those steps. And I feel like that's not a bad thing, or it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just kind of what happened. But I think as long as I'm trying to keep like the integrity and just keep growing my team, I think that's what I should just be focusing on, and that's what I've been telling myself these days. Yeah.
And I feel like you're really someone that stays true to who you are, regardless of the outreach that's happening with your social media, and how crazy and fast it's growing. Obviously, you mentioned that you were able to teach all over the world, and you're able to direct Espiritu, and with that you get to work with a lot of emerging talent. What is that like for you?
It's always great seeing emerging talent, because it's just more opportunity to connect with people, and also kind of just remind myself like what I'm doing this for. A lot of times like the people that come up to me being like, oh my gosh, like I would love to dance with the Spiritu, or I would love to like learn your style. It's kind of people that come from places that don't really have the opportunity. Like I feel like there's a lot of talent in the world, but there's not a lot of opportunity. So I'm just kind of want to be the person that helps them build a platform for themselves so where they can be seen. Wait, remind me the question one more time. I'm like, where am I going with this?
Well, first of all, I do want to say, like, it's such a beautiful experience to be able to provide opportunities to people that you care about and friends, and getting to work on a different level with people is just the most amazing experience. But what excites you about this upcoming generation of dancers that you're able to work with all the time?
Oh, I see. I think everybody's just hungry, but not in the same sense where like everybody's trying to I think everybody's hungry to create their own path. And it's very refreshing to see that, because I think in the past, like I said before, people thought there was like necessary steps that you needed to take in order to be your own person or have a name for yourself. But people are kind of just creating for themselves, and they're just fearless in putting it out, and that's what I love to see. That's what I try to do with myself. And I think it's really good, because now we're not waiting on the opportunity, but we're rather creating the opportunity for ourselves, which is, I think, the best thing that artists should do, because artists, you know, you make art for yourself to create versus waiting for somebody to tell you, oh, now this is your time to create something, to go do it. They're just kind of taking the lead and just going for it.
And that's also something super interesting, because I mean, I go to school for dance, and that's a space where you're being told, like, this is you need to create now, this is your guidelines to the creation that you're making, which is such a weird thing, and you're getting graded on dance, you know what I mean? But it's something completely different to just take that initiative into your own hands and just go and pursue the art that you're wanting to create in this world. And again, back to what you were saying, it's everyone's path in dance is completely different and individual to who they are. So yeah, there's kind of this like stigma around like the specific steps that you need to take to become a successful dancer or person in the dance industry. But I feel like evidence shows different. Evidence shows that every single person is completely individual to who they are. And I was actually talking about this in another episode with Halima. And we were talking about how everyone that is most successful in this industry is successful because they have stayed like really true to who they are and very honest in their work, and not changed into these like certain steps or certain images that you need to portray to be booked and busy or to be an instructor that is able to travel and do all of these crazy things. I want to know how you see this incoming generation that we're talking about. How do you see them pushing boundaries in the spaces that you are able to connect with them in?
I think something that I've seen the new generation push, and that I'm kind of hopeful for, is that the way that they're able to protect the spaces that they're in. I think Gen Z is a very loud generation, but like that's not a bad thing. I think we're just very vocal about accountability and kind of just protecting people's spaces and just the wellness of the people that occupy them. And I think that's so important in dance, or when you're trying to cultivate a community of artists, to keep it safe. So I think recently, the past generation, we've been taught to, or maybe past generations have been taught to like kind of keep it hush so that everything can go the way that it's been done before.
Right.
But I think these days what I'm seeing is people being more vocal, being like, oh no, like we shouldn't do this anymore. Like we shouldn't be practicing in parking lots till 5 a.m. Like we have lives outside of this. And I think that's something that's great. Like I think dancers should advocate for themselves, whether it be in jobs where they need more compensation or more protection, or in rehearsals where, you know, we're doing too much for what? So I think just the way that dancers protect themselves is growing, and I think that's something that I love to see.
We literally were just talking about this in the episode with Halima, but we were talking about just the dancing on concrete and the concept, how that's like super intertwined with the community, and how, I mean, it's obviously just based on what's available and accessible to everyone and at any given point. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is quite unhealthy for your knees and your body. And as dancers, I mean, this is our instrument, so that is really difficult, especially when you're rehearsing at 3 a.m. in the morning and it's been already a long day, and most of us have school the next day or work the next morning at like 6 a.m. But here we are, and that just says a lot about the true passion that we all have for dance. Going back to what you were saying about just the safety and the advocating for that, I feel like I completely agree with you. I've seen a complete change in not so many years. I feel like recently it's really gotten up to, we're starting to create better standards in the industry, and we're starting to see that change of like accountability, of really being in a space where we deserve to be safe and taken care of, and you know, compensated properly for what we're providing and the talent and the effort, because becoming a dancer is not an easy thing.
It is not.
It takes a huge investment of your time, money, energy. Life.
Yes, so many
really
sacrifices.
It's so many sacrifices. It really consumes you, and we should be able to see that reflected in the type of compensation that dancers are receiving, the type of environments that they're being hired to be on, or even just like teaching spaces as well, making sure that the learning process and the process to get to that point to be able to work in the dance world is a safe one.
Yes.
So I think that's also just super important. How, obviously we're talking about your viral media extravaganza moment with Espiritu worldwide, and I just want to know how do you see social media kind of continuing to push these boundaries and allow dancers that space to voice those concerns and also to grow themselves in the industry?
Yeah. I think social media is a great tool for connectivity. Like, I think dance is a very connection type of thing.
Yes.
I always say that like the purpose of Espiritu is to connect people's spirits like together, and I think social media has just made that so much easier, because you can post a video just being like, okay, like this is what I did in class, and it can reach somebody all the way over on the other side of the world, and then they can learn that choreo, and it's just like, wow, like now we're connected through like this dance that we did together,
right?
Which is great. I think there's a other flip side of social media that's kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, where now that people are able to put out their work and get a platform for it because like it's good, I think it kind of leaves room for people to kind of fall to comparison. Yeah. And comparison is the thief of joy. So sometimes like it forces people to kind of think like, oh my gosh, like what's going to do the best on this thing? What's going to be the best way to create this? And I feel like these limits kind of limit art and how far we can push dance and how far we can push ourselves. So I do see that being a very negative thing. But I think once we kind of let go of like that mindset and just realize that, yes, the best art that people create are the things that we feel the most true or feel most intuition towards. Totally. I think that'll make like sharing your stuff on social media a little bit easier and a little bit more beneficial for people. Yeah, I mean, definitely it serves as like #1 tool to connect people from all over the world, and also like through that you're also getting these incredible opportunities to teach. Like, who do you, like, whoa. I feel like being able to teach across the world are opportunities that wouldn't come without social media, because you're providing this content and access all over the world, and that outreach is really providing those opportunities for you. But I completely agree with that negative side of putting kind of boundaries, or you know, putting yourself inside of a box, because what is going most viral at this moment, and also we are consuming dance content like never before. TikTok is such a huge thing, and you are consistently consuming dance content over and over again for hours at a time. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Correct, me too. But that also influences you whether you want it to or not, especially in your creative process. That'll change. Like, I feel like, for example, if I weren't scrolling for 2 hours, I would have completely come up with a completely different piece of choreography than if I've been watching a certain kind of dance over and over again. That's going to influence the movement that I'm creating as well. So really making sure that we're not putting ourselves into these artistic boundaries is, I think, an important thing that dancers and creators should acknowledge for themselves, to be able to at least, like, not that being influenced by other movement is a bad thing, because it's also finding inspiration everywhere. That's the way that you find, the way that you find your personal style. I think that's the way, like, I think that's the way that, like, the dance community and industry as a whole has been growing, because we see different parts of the world that do something different, and like and they can share their own thing. We can kind of get influenced by that. But I think the issue is when people don't know like the difference between inspiration and just kind of like biting.
Yeah.
At that point, it's just like give some credit.
Yeah.
Find some like time to like really just sit down with yourself and be like, is this like true to me? I don't want to say like, is this true to me, because it can feel like really true to yourself, but you know, am I doing this with integrity, or am I doing this to kind of just benefit from me and just take? But I think, yeah, just being respectful to other dancers will uplift the whole platform.
Absolutely. And with dance trends, I think it's because dancing on social media is such a normalized thing. We tend to not have that important conversation that for some of us, this is our work. Yeah. And
it's our job, it's our life.
It's what we do. Yeah. And like, not that it's stealing in any way, shape, or form, but just doing someone else's dance because it's fun is super common. And sometimes there's no, you know, let me tag this choreographer that put in the effort and the work into making this piece of art that I am able to enjoy now and share with my friends. You know, I think we need to make it a priority on social media to just give credit where credit is due and acknowledge the hard work that people are putting into building their platforms.
I think the same way that we have class etiquette and that you kind of learn that yourself, and you know, sometimes it is like told, but sometimes, most of the times, it's just kind of learned through experience. I think we're kind of figuring that out now with social media, because dance is like on the rise. So I think as a whole, like, we'll figure it out and we'll get to a place where everybody's comfortable with it. So I'm not like everybody's like, I'm very hopeful that we'll figure it out, and we'll just, you know, we're there for each other.
An evolution, and it's a process. Absolutely. And it'll hopefully just keep getting better as we move forward. But earlier we were also talking about how our generation is pushing boundaries and really advocating for our safety and all of these things. Do you feel like there is a disconnect from the younger generations, like our generation, and the industry standards that you see when you are working jobs?
Ooh, that's a good question, because I'm still trying to figure that out too. But I think the biggest one that I've experienced, like the disconnect from me and like the industry, is kind of like, even if you are in LA, even if you are in the places to be booked, even if you have an agent, it's like, it's not like you're gonna be like booked immediately. Like there is still work to be done. There's like still a game that you have to play. I don't like putting it like that, but it's kind of like you do have to take extra steps. Like they're not gonna do it for you. And I think that's one thing that people think, like once I do this A, B, and C, I'll get D. Let's like no, like you have to market yourself a certain way, which is like, oh, why can't it just be about the dancing? But you do have to like sort of have a brand for yourself. You do have to like make these connections, and I think it kind of feel like a little bit fabricated sometimes. But I think if you want to like do it with integrity, just kind of be natural about it and just protect, like have like a set of more morals that you have, and like kind of just lead by those, and I think everything will figure itself out. But you have to do the work for yourself if you want to have opportunities, or else, and then they're not just going to come to you. I mean, it's great if they do, but most of the time you do have to do the work, versus just hitting these things expecting that it'll come to you. I mean, it works like that in any industry, and I think because dance is such a personal thing, and we create based off of relationships that we have with each other, and we're very much a close-knit community, that sometimes people don't see that side of the work that needs to be done. It's like if you had an office job, you would still have to partake in like the networking side of things. You have to present yourself in a certain way that's professional and respectful to the industry that you are in. And dance has that itself. You know what I mean? And I think like there's kind of a disconnect there, because people kind of view the industry as like this other entity sometimes, and they kind of have like this stigma where it's like, oh, like you do have to kind of be a little fake. But I think the best connections come out of like genuine
friendship.
And I feel like with dance, you can clock that to like that, because it's super personal to you, and it's super, I don't know, it's literally like a piece of your art, like piece of your soul being like projected on. So you have to do it with integrity, but also you do have to do it. You know what I mean?
Speaking of a piece of your art, what is the legacy that you're hoping to leave behind?
Ooh. I just want to be remembered not for my work, but more so for my character. I want to be somebody that has helped communities in positive ways. I want to be somebody that people look up to, on not in like how to dance, but I want to be the person that people think of, like, how do I want to be in a space? How do I want to lead a space? Because I think for me, that's the most important part, like the human aspect of it all. And that's how I want to be remembered. I want to be remembered as like a friend and like a friendly person. Yeah.
And I feel like you're already...
I try, girl.
I feel like you're already on your way towards that, especially, I was mentioning it before, but I've only had positive experiences working with you ever. And I always look forward to seeing you. Every time I see you, you always put a smile on my face. And that says a lot about... Thanks. But that says a lot about your character and who you are, and knowing that even though your platform is so big, and even though you have found such success right away and so at such a young age, you were still able to remain humble and really remain focused on what really matters to you and your morals and the people that you care about, and valuing that those relationships were there from the very beginning for a reason. So I feel like that really comes through in your work.
Thank you.
Is there some advice that you feel like you got earlier on, and that is now something that you feel you need to always pass on to any kind of student or anyone on your team that you work with?
I think it would just be, don't be afraid to try. I think a lot of us kind of like are like, oh my gosh, like, am I doing too much right now? That was me a lot as a kid, because I was like super extra. I was that kid in the class, like just like popping a split, doing whatever. But I was like, in those moments, it was like kind of just me building my confidence, because it's like, you know, I'm actually trying my best to do something. And even if you fail, you're getting something out of it. And like, you're kind of pushing your confidence to be like, okay, like if I can't do it this time, like at least I tried it.
Right.
And I think even now these days, like feeling like I am like a good dancer, like I still have those moments where I'm like in spaces, I'm like, oh, am I doing too much, or should I post this, like like is this like coming off a certain way? But I think like there's cringe mountain. I talked about like this with my friends. I'm like, there's cringe mountain, and you really just have to like pass through cringe mountain to get to like the good side, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of getting over that fear of like looking like you're doing too much from other people, because it's like, well, if I'm doing too much, you're doing too little, you know what I mean?
Correct.
But yes, if you feel like you're taking up a lot of space, that is absolutely okay. Like, if you're not going to take up space in this world, somebody else will. And you know, that's not like a bad thing. Like, of course, like, I mean, that's not like always like a like, oh, like I need to like be the most loud person in a room. It's like, no, like, you know, if you want to stand in the front but you don't usually stand there, it's like, you like just push yourself to be there, because you deserve that, and like you deserve that experience. And I feel like your level of dance knowledge / talent and where you are in your path as a dancer has nothing to do with whether you are worthy or not of being in a space. And being able to recognize that for yourself will help you in your growth as a dancer, but also as a person. And also, even I think in my experience in being in those kinds of spaces, I gravitate more towards people that understand that they deserve to be here as well. It's hard when I feel like when I see someone that feels ashamed of being in the room, or like doesn't feel comfortable, then it's just a little hard for me to witness that, because it's something that we all go through.
and comparison is such a huge thing in dance, so it's really hard to avoid that. But I think everyone's always welcome.
Yeah, I think the great thing about that though is that like the person that can do something about that is yourself. Like I feel like if I'm ever feeling like uncomfortable in a room, I'm kind of just like, okay, like let me just sit down and like wonder like what would I need, like what would I need if I was viewing myself, and I can kind of just build that connection through like maybe comforting somebody, making friends in class, because like you kind of giving to the world, you'll eventually receive it back. It's kind of just like that equal exchange of energy. So I think for me, if I'm ever in a space and I feel like, oh, like I feel like I'm kind of bringing down the energy, just kind of give to the space, and then you'll eventually receive back what you're looking for.
Totally. And you were talking about Cringe Mountain.
Oh,
and,
yes, Cringe Mountain.
In any space that you put yourself in where you are looking for growth, you have to go through a period of just being uncomfortable. Yeah. You just have to. There's like no other option. There's no shortcuts. You're gonna feel uncomfortable, and you're gonna feel like you're not the best in the room. But why would you want to feel like you're the best in the room? Because then there's no opportunity for you to grow. Yeah. You know, like I feel like that really, when I put it that way for myself, that always helps me a little bit into like getting over that fear and that discomfort and that weird energy, and just committing to it and figuring it out.
Committing to it. There we go.
Exactly. What are some hopes that you have for the next generation coming in?
Oof. I just hope that we take care of each other. I think COVID has really done its number on the dance community and kind of making people feel very isolated. So I think now that we're kind of getting out of that, and that we're, you know, rebuilding a lot of these spaces and a lot of these teams, I think we should bring back the community aspect. Not like it was ever gone, but I feel like it was a little bit harder to connect with other people because we didn't know how. But I think once we open up ourselves to other people and not be afraid of like, you know, representing like, oh, I can't talk to this person because they represent this, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff that doesn't really matter in the end. Yeah. I think everybody will kind of just elevate. And, you know, it's all about, I feel like when dance is together, like it grows. But if like the further we are apart, like it's just kind of gonna stay idle and stuff like that. So I'm hopeful that like the next generation isn't afraid of connection, and we can use that to like further the platform even further.
And even I feel like specifically what you just mentioned, I feel like at World of Dance, that is something that WAD in general just really cares about, which is just elevating the dance community as a whole, and not kind of pitting each other against each other. It's just, it's not productive or helpful to anyone. And being able to, it's a really small community. The dance world is small, and it just thrives better if we're all helping each other out. And at the end of the day, we were talking about the connections are what make you successful and what end up giving you all of these opportunities.
Wait, can I share a story real quick?
Yes.
This happened at WAD LA. Like what you said, like literally just like, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, core memory. But at literally WAD LA like a week ago, there was like the college division, and you know, these college teams were competing against each other. And I was like, dang, like everybody's going for blood, like they're eating. But I go outside to rehearse, and then I see like just like a huge like gathering, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Let me head over there. And I'm like watching, and it's kind of like they had already competed, they had already done their big one, you know, they went full out, but they were like, okay, like what if we just kind of present for each other, and we kind of just do like a community showcase, like where we can just watch each other's sets, because we weren't able to watch it on stage because we were getting ready. And so it was just like one college team would go up and everybody would watch and cheer, and the next team would go up and everybody would, and I was like, wow, like even though like we're all, like this was before awards, so like everybody was still like, you know, like
competing,
competing, but like we find these moments to really connect with one another and just support. And I was just like, this is like what dance is all about. This is what I live for, and I think this is what we need more of. So I think like WAD like gave the opportunity to provide that space, and I was just like, wow, like this is amazing.
it really, I feel like, shocks me every time.
Yeah.
And it really shouldn't shock me every time.
Right.
Like I shouldn't be surprised.
It should be the norm.
Exactly. But yeah, I think whenever there's spaces where people get to like just share and be happy and excited that all the hard work that's been put in for months is paying off, it's just always an amazing opportunity for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Specific to the industry side of things, what are certain changes that you would like to see reflected in, or not reflected in, but that the new generation might bring to the industry?
I think since like the new generation has so much access to different styles that they can see online and stuff like that, I think that's just gonna kind of level up what they're able to do. So I would love to see dancers kind of for the new generation not be put in a box because they're able to do it. I think I see the new generation like being able to do like boom jazz funk like on this one job, and boom like they're on another job like twerking like and like getting ratchet. It's like like we can like do it all because we are able to like really learn from what we see, and like, you know, there's just so much range. And I feel like in the past it's been so easy to typecast people, or like people have, or jobs have been very like, oh, I'm only looking for this thing. For me, when I was on the Katy Perry job, I was talking to Michael. Oh my gosh, hi Kuya. And I was talking to him, and I was like I actually thought this was crazy because I was at the audition, and it was a huge audition. It was like maybe 400 people there.
Wow.
And there was like all different body types, all different looks, all different heights, everything. And I was just kind of like, through the whole process, I was like, what are they looking for? Like, are they looking for like a certain type or like a certain look or, you know, whatever?
Yeah.
And no, like they weren't. Like all the people that they picked from the audition, like we all look so different. And Michael, he told me on the last day of the job, he's like, you know what, like a few years ago it wasn't like this. Like everybody had to have like a body, everybody had to be tan, everybody had to be you know, like we all had to be something in order to book some certain job. But I'm so grateful that the new generation is able to kind of break those boundaries, and I'm hopeful that they honor that and that they're able to, you know, do it justice.
And it truly was not like that at all before, and it's so exciting to see that progress is slowly being made as we keep moving forward. Let's hop into my favorite section of the podcast. Let's manifest some stuff for you. I want to know what your dream job is, whether it be industry, community, teaching, anything. Dream artist, maybe.
Okay. I think, oh my god, this is kind of so corny, but I think my dream job is one where I'm able to creative direct and just bring all my Espiritu people on it. I think that that's what I would consider a dream job from like a logistical standpoint, because that's all I want to do really. Like I just want to create and put my friends on like the biggest stages in the world that we can. But if I did have to put like a name and like a performance or like whatever on it, I would love to do a Super Bowl. I would love to choreograph that, because I think the way that my brain operates best is like just kind of like big grand performances. And not only do I want to choreograph that, I would love to creative direct it, because like with that stage you have so much to play around with. I mean, it's like a whole stadium, and you know, you got people flying, you got pyro. I would love to choreograph pyro. Like I love fireworks. Like but that is like a dream thing that I would want to do. And dream artists, I think I would love to work with amazing performers, but not ones that are like super established, because they already have their own thing going on. I think Sean Bankhead said it really well. I forgot what podcast, but he was like, when you're working with a new artist, you're able to grow with them and kind of shape them and find who they are. And I think that's like something that you get to do with new artists, really, because, you know, artists that have been in the game, they're kind of like, they already have like choreo that they know, and the way that they like to move. So it's I would love
a collaborative process.
I love collaborating with people. So I think people that I would want to dance with is maybe like Doechii. I would love to choreograph for Doechii. If like she's looking for a different bag. Doja, girl, you know. Doja,
I do know.
Hey Doja.
I do know.
And yeah, I love the pop girlies. Tate, that would be amazing.
I mean, Tate is
I think those are my
insane.
top three people that I'd want to work for.
For those of you that don't know, you were just in the anxiety video with Miss Doechii, which that video is absolutely insane. It is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. There's so many moving parts. Like, so many things are happening, but somehow I was always able to spot you anywhere.
Period.
So that says a lot about you. You're just like, you really shine when you're performing. And it's such a gift to be able to watch you do that.
Shout out Dochi, shout out Robbie, shout out everybody on that, because we made a movie, period.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. What are some hopes you have for the future of Espiritu worldwide?
Ooh. I think it's in the name. Espiritu worldwide. I want to bring everybody like around the world. I think that's like the opportunity to travel for dance is like the most amazing thing, because one, I mean, you're traveling the world, but two, you're meeting these different spaces, and like you're kind of getting fulfilled, and you're able to give into their spaces. So whether it be performing like on a like international competition, or like do a show with them across the world, or take them on like a teaching tour with me, I think that's something that I would really love to do with Espiritu. Just bring it worldwide. And I think
and
like
I see it.
Me naming that the Instagram Espiritu worldwide is already manifesting it.
Right.
So just give us like a few years, or like maybe a few months. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is, but
it's gonna happen.
I know. I just know.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna be great.
And I cannot wait to be there and watch as it launches into worldwide success.
Period.
Because there's no other option. And you're just also, like, going back to what your hopes and dreams are, you're so incredibly great at managing a team that is so large. Like, Spiritu performances there's a lot of people on stage, and just already being able to choreograph on that many people alone, because truly it's only you're the one that's making everything happen and putting it all together and having that creative vision, and that's just already putting you in a spot to be able to achieve set dreams that you're mentioning, which is so exciting. Who inspires you to create for yourself and for others?
Ooh, I think the people that inspire me to create, I think this is like a two-part question. The people that inspire me to create, Paris, girl. Paris, she is my queen down diva, like forever.
No words.
Oof.
It's insane.
Yes.
Paris. And it's been like that for forever too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like she's never fell off, but yeah,
exactly.
She never will. Help. Paris, Sienna, I would say Sergio these days from CDK.
CDK?
Oh my god, so crazy.
CDK is I'm the biggest fan. I'm like speechless right now. I have no like words to describe my passion for being able to watch that company perform in any space, whether it be a music video or a stage or a concert, like any experience. I feel like I'm so the type of person that mixes a lot of my like hip hop world with the more like
technical side
and the like modern dance and the weird energy that goes around in those spaces, and they do like the most incredible job of mixing those two things.
Absolutely. And
it is just like mind blowing, and every single performance is a dream.
Yeah, and I think what I'm like really inspired by that company is like they don't sacrifice the art for the athleticism. Yeah, I think it's a good blend of both.
Absolutely.
And I love that.
Absolutely. If dance were a language, what would you be saying with yours?
Ooh, it would be saying, talk to me, girl. I'm just kidding. It'd be saying, don't be afraid to take up space in this world. I think that's something that I've had to learn a lot, but I think just kind of like being your own superstar, and like that's like your superpower, like just being able to present yourself into this world like unapologetically and very big. Like I think that's something that is very hard and that has to be learned over time, but once you do it, like it feels really good, and that's kind of why my movement is so big and takes up a lot of space and makes you feel like a superstar. Yeah, it really does make you feel like a superstar. Who are your mentors, and go ahead and give them a shout out, people that have inspired you or have gotten you to this point where you are at today? There's so many. Like we could be here for an hour, but I think off the top of my head, we do. I think off the top of my head, I would not be here without David and Marcy from GFAM. Those are the directors of like that whole unit. They manage like an army.
They do.
Yes, Val, Carrie from the lab. Those are the people that like really. They taught me like like every moral of dance that I know, and kind of like were the ones to welcome me into this world. Sienna, Elam, those are the ones that like really taught me how to dance. Oh, and Heather. Hey, Heather. Yeah, I love them. Love my lab family. And then these days, like it's so crazy because like a few years ago they were just like my like teachers, but now they're like kind of like my friends. Like like I have Ivan, Ivan Paradis, Derek Daniels, Daniel Moulton. All these people have like just helped me feel like they've helped me navigate through this like crazy dance world, and just made me feel very comforted in knowing in the fact that what I'm doing is good, and good for the community and good for the world. And they've also just like clocked my tea when it hasn't been. So yeah,
especially with the offstage GFAM world, these people that you're mentioning are truly great people, and they are incredible mentors. And I have been privileged enough to be able to learn from them, and also receive some guidance from them as well. And I can say firsthand that they are incredible people, and they deserve the best, and only more growth than they can imagine.
I love y'all so much.
That is the last question.
Oh my gosh.
That is all we have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Inside HQ. Please go ahead and look into the camera. Let the people know what you have coming up for you.
Ooh. I will be performing very soon. I'll be at Battle Royale. I will be at the Get Down. I'll be at WAD Summit. Hey, I'm teaching a class there, I believe, and I'm also performing with Espiritu, so make sure to catch us there. Just keep posted on our social media at Espiritu Worldwide, or you can find me at Kenneth.Espiritu with 2 U's. And yeah, that's how you can just keep up with me, because it's hard to keep up, babes. I'm just kidding.
Tell people where they can find you if they want to learn from you, like if they want to take a class.
Yes, I'm an instructor at Offstage. That's where I teach, but I do teach pop-ups at like a lot of different studios around the SoCal area and around the country, around the world, around the world now. Hey, and you can just see what I'm doing through my social media, Kenneth Espiritu on Instagram. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much. I will catch you next time on another episode of Inside HQ. That's all.
Thank you.
Bye.